question. What's been good with Adam Silver lately, man? Sure, he has some dubs. I mean, the play-in tournament's pretty cool. He's helped make the game international, popularizing basketball in countries that would otherwise be wasting their time playing footy. And he's empowered players to stand up for what they believe in. But this dude can really fumble sometimes. I mean, giving players more guaranteed money kinda screwed the league in major ways. We all know about the load management issues, and some of these young players just don't care about the game.
Bro gave the players a little too much power here. A pristine example of why the Soviets fell so hard.
But despite having socialist values towards his players, which is ruining the NBA, he's still a mega corporate overlord in other ways, which is also ruining the NBA. Anyway, I got a lot of problems with this glorified Caillou, as do many other NBA fans, but the point of this video is to discuss this one specific issue.
I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters.
What the hell is this? There are so many reasons why this is not a good idea, and today we're going to discuss them.
And Adam Silver, I might just have a solution for you that'll fix all your problems.
So if you're one of the 100 people that end up watching this, stay tuned. So why is Adam Silver even considering this? Well, according to him,
as we get more involved in global basketball, the NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes.
Here's the thing, boss. Shortening quarters is not the path to the holy grail that you think it is.
You'd think people don't want to sit 2.5 hours straight to watch a game. But if that were true, people wouldn't be sitting for 3.5 hours straight on a Sunday watching football. I mean, down south, they dedicate their entire Sundays to their greatest passions, football and Jesus. Or how about even further down south, where all they do is football and Jesus.
A soccer game is 90 minutes long, and yet the whole watching experience is only about 2 hours, compared to an NBA game that's 48 minutes long, just a little over half as long as a soccer game, and yet the viewing experience is about 2.5 to 3 hours. Are you starting to see the problem here now, Adam? Audience retention isn't being lost from the game itself. It's the lack of game being played in the 3-hour broadcast.
The NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes.
Yeah, and the NBA is also the only league that milks ads the way it does. It's not the long quarters that's turning off international fans, Adam. It's the ads.
The NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes.
The NBA is the only league that starts 15 minutes later than posted.
The NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes.
The NBA is also the only league that takes 10 minutes to review a call that even a casual fan can figure out in 30 seconds.
The NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes.
The NBA is the only league that's bombarded with back-to-back-to-back timeouts, which once again goes back to 2 to 3 minute ad breaks each goddamn time. Now here's a controversial take for you. The NBA capitalizes on injuries too, because you don't see soccer games cut to commercials when someone gets hurt. You could have some commentary on the game, or some sick highlights while the player gets taken care of, or God forbid show some sympathy to the injured player and gas him up a little. But no, this injury is a blessing. Some extra downtime, baby. Jamie, roll the ads.
No flex, zone.
Here's another thing, Adam. Lowering the amount of time in a game means less time for the bench to play. Not only does this mean that there's a smaller variety in coaching substitutions and matchups, but this gives less of an opportunity to see the Cinderella stories we love. Remember Bubble TJ Warren or Linsanity? Do these outlier performances really happen if these players who don't normally get a lot of touches no longer even have the opportunity to do so? Sure, we love seeing our superstars go off, but that's gonna happen anyway. I wanna see Naz Reid or Lonnie Walker have the games of their lives. With starting lineups averaging up to 35 minutes of playing time, that only gives bench players 5 minutes to play instead of 13. That's less than half as much. There's a growing sentiment that the NBA is losing its nuance, that all the teams play the same way. And while I disagree with this take, removing rotations and having the same 7 players play instead of a 9 to 10 man rotation definitely will add to this problem. On top of that, having 10-minute quarters completely reshapes how we compare players today to players in the past. How are we ever going to witness records being broken again, like how so many fans long for? I mean, we all secretly hope to see the day that a player breaks Clay's 11 threes in a game, or Harden's 60-point triple-double. But if this game gets narrowed down to 10-minute quarters, we're never going to see these records get broken. Plus, all the numbers will just be lower than usual. Seeing a player go for 40 will be the new 50, which simply just doesn't have the same ring to it, and we're definitely not going to see anyone break 70 again. But I think the worst thing of all is that you're hurting your core fan base, the people that give you the most, in their time and their money. So where's that money that you lose in advertising gonna come from? Increase seat tickets? Increase subscription prices? I sure hope not. These Johnnies are already so much more expensive than they used to be. Think about all those die-hard Wizards fans. You know, all 3 of them, having to pay $8 a ticket instead of $5. Or those not so die-hard Warriors fans who have to pay $500 instead of $450. You see where I'm getting at? You're hurting the core fan base who actually loves going to games and replacing them with these corporate parties whose kids play on their iPads during games. But even if they don't end up directly screwing fans with increased ticket prices, they're for sure gonna screw our eyes by putting even more stupid ass ads all over the court and jerseys. Seriously, look at how beautiful these courts used to look. This does not feel like a game loved by its commissioner. And sure, the NBA is obviously a business at the end of the day, but it never felt like this, man. Ultimately, lowering the amount of game time is like trying to cure a headache with a band-aid. The real issue isn't that fans don't enjoy watching the game itself, they hate watching the downtime. So Adam, what can we do about it? Well, all of us fans have been screaming this, and I'm sure those inner voices in your head have been whispering the same thing. Make the refs better at their job. Look, I understand why you protect the refs. It's the same reason why you protect your players. But if you haven't seen by now, both the players and the refs have been taking things a little overboard. If you're trying to retain the attention of your audience, don't allow refs 25 minutes to confirm a stupid out-of-bounds call, only to get the call wrong. I think you can find your solution from the Olympics. This past summer was such a breath of fresh air for basketball fans, and no, Adam, it's not because there were 10-minute quarters. The pace was just so much better. Fewer calls were made, and when they were dealt with quickly. When the refs were discussing a call, we could hear what they were talking about, and it made things so much more transparent and much faster. By not doing this in the NBA, you're essentially undermining the integrity of the game. The refs could be talking about anything, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe they're slyly discussing a makeup call, or saying that they should favor giving the star player a better call. Or maybe they're making a call in favor of Vegas, because we know how much money they give you, Adam. Or how about this? Instead of lowering the time in each game, maybe consider lowering the amount of games per season. We all know how little each game actually matters. With 82 games in a season, a single loss doesn't really hurt a team that much. And if you look at the standings after 65 games in a season, they don't really change that much in the next 17 games. So what's even the point of having those games? Having fewer games in a week also allows players to rest more, so you'd be seeing a lot less load management. But the biggest thing is the ads, man. If you're so willing to give players such an absurd bag, which ultimately takes away from the game with all their antics, why can't you just give the fans a little bit of what we want? Sure, you might lose some ad revenue in the short term, but I promise you, your sport will grow a lot more than you think it will. Seriously, the milking of ads is so disrespectful to your fan base. Saying that you're going to start the game at 7:30 only to have 15 minutes of ads and start the game at 7:45. If we look at fans around the world who are so used to seeing a small amount of ads, do you really think you're going to be bringing them into your sport when 75% of the broadcast is just ads? Saying your fans don't have the attention span for 12-minute quarters is disrespectful. We just don't have the time to waste to watch the same stupid ads on repeat.
No flex, zone.
If you really want to save some money, just take some money from Paul George's contract. Dude is getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars for a podcast with as many viewers as this channel. Alright, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe one day. Hooligan.